All right. Okay. So, just gonna ask you a few questions about, the feeling of being arrested. I'm gonna kind of define what that means, and then I'm gonna invite you to speak as freely as you possibly can. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
So initially, the feeling of being arrested means just like in any instance or entity where you feel like you can't show up 100%. So, for example, some people have stated that, like, when they get to work, they feel like they have to code switch, or maybe when they go to certain places, they feel like they can't dress the way they uniformly dress. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So that's kind of just some examples of like what it means to feel arrested, and that's
Okay.
the areas that we're going to speak about. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna start with the first question, and the first question is, when do you feel the most powerful?
I feel the most powerful when I guess when I'm standing in my truth, when I feel the most confident, like I'm speaking with conviction, I'm sure of what I'm saying. I know this to be true. Um, in regards to myself or whatever I'm expressing. Also when I'm creating, so I write, I'm getting into content creation, like putting visuals to words kind of vibe. But yeah, I feel most powerful when I write and when I'm having, like, sometimes when you are engaging with a person, like in a really good conversation or whatever, whether you're sharing advice or whatever, but you can just tell either what you're saying they've never heard in that way before, and it's like changing them.
Or resonate with
um
them?
yeah, it's resonating, and like that it's going to be impactful in their life moving forward.
Nice.
um I tend to have those type of interactions often, if the other person allows it. And yeah, so that's when I feel the most powerful. Like my impact is beneficial.
Okay. And let's talk about when you feel the least powerful.
I feel the least powerful. Um, I've felt the least powerful. Like it's moments in every day. I think when I feel the least powerful when I'm not present. So like when I'm overthinking, when I'm stuck in my head, when I'm catastrophizing. Yeah, I believe that's how you say it. Like if I'm just in a low vibration or negative mindset, I feel the least powerful because it feels like helplessness.
What do you feel puts you in that position? What kind of events or occurrences will like take you to that place?
I think a big component of it is it just being not my true inner voice, but just like, the inner critic, or like any insult or criticism or whatever, like the trauma and all of that kind of stuff that's just kind of threaded along throughout my life.
Hmm.
Um, I know that that's a big component of it. Other than that, I think in any time that I don't stand in my power, I mean, it's like it's like the exact opposite. So if I'm not being truthful, if I am like people pleasing, if I am doing these things, then like the shame and the guilt and the lack of self-worth and like all of those things start to play. And depending on the space that I'm in, like you believe it because it's your own mind. So yeah.
You mentioned standing in your power. What are the things that help you to get to that place when you like, I am fully in my power right now? Like, is there a mental step? Is there kind of like a process that you go through to get to that place?
Yeah, if I'm how would I say it, like if I'm coming out of a depressive episode, to like build myself back up kind of thing,
Hmm.
I utilize yoga, I utilize breath work and meditation and reading. Like those are I would say the top four. And like actual intention. So it's almost as if when I'm in those other spaces, it feels like life is happening to me. And like, it's a victimhood. But when your intention, when you're intentional about the outcome, even though you don't know, you have no control over the outcome. When you're intentional about the outcome, like, hey, I feel like, can I curse?
Yeah.
Hey, I feel like shit. Um, I don't want to feel like shit. What makes me not feel like shit? Oh, I've been in my head for the past month. Like, let me do some breath work to like come back to the present moment, or let me do some yoga to feel what it feels like to be in my body again. Cause I've been dissociating this whole time. So kind of on autopilot. So I think like doing those grounding things, like I really love like being in nature, being near water has always been like super therapeutic. So um, doing those kind of things, like taking it back to the basics. Uh, and then as you go through those motions, you're like, oh, I am like, you just start to feel your true self again. Like you
Hmm.
realize what you're actually capable of.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Does standing in your power have any relationship to how you show up? And that could be like when you get dressed, is there a certain article of clothing that when you put it on, you feel like I'm in this thing? You know what I mean?
Uh yeah, sometimes I have certain pieces
Hmm.
where it's like, yeah, if I put this on, like I'm feeling myself. Sometimes for me it's colors as well. So like red is my favorite color. Um, so if I put on a red dress, I know the attention I'm gonna get and I'm prepared for that attention, you know?
Hmm.
Um, if I'm feeling a bit more casual, but I'm still whatever, then I might, show a little cleave, or I
Hmm.
might have a lot of tattoos, so I might like show off a certain tattoo. I might have like a bold piece of jewelry on, or something that just has me like I'm trying to, not trying to, I want to radiate what I'm feeling like
Hmm.
in this
To
outfit.
amplify.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Dope. So, in that same energy, are there like certain articles of clothing that maybe you wear when you want to show up a little smaller or might not be as vibrant?
I honestly like I've been having like realizations around clothes.
Hmm.
That's always been kind of clothes and shoes and stuff like that. I've not been one uh that has been like I settled, like I would always just say, oh, I'm a plain Jane. Like I love where I've been a bartender for about 12 years. And so black. I love black. Black is slimming, and black is also another color that I go to because it makes me feel sexy. Um, so I've noticed that I start the more my self-esteem started to dwindle, and the more I wasn't like recognizing my worth or feeling worthless or whatever the case may be, I would just basically hide. It's like I was hiding myself with my clothing. So like I don't want any form, like nothing tight fitting, like very big loose boy jeans, like actual male jeans. Going to the male section.
Hmm.
No, nothing holding my ass, nothing showing my hips or my waist, like just big pieces, big t-shirts, sweatpants, a lot of hoodies with the hoodie on,
Hmm.
like really like just hiding myself.
Now, when you said that you kind of would have like phases of that, do
Hmm.
you mind kind of talking about like what kind of put you in that position?
Yeah, just in general life experiences,
Hmm.
but more so uh I deal with body dysmorphia, and I've always been a bit heavier. Uh and it really bothered me when I was younger. But then as a woman, you start to grow up and you get your little shape. And in the black community, it's not frowned upon like these thick thighs and this ass. So
Hmm.
it's not a bad thing per se. But as a kid, what I'm saying, I was made fun of a lot. and certain nicknames and stuff attributed to like you're a bigger girl.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think when I got older, like my early 20s was the smallest I had ever been. And so I just felt more confident. And I was still a thick girl, but I was toned or like fit or, them
Mm-hmm.
20s treat you right. And then as you start to get into like later 2030s, you realize, oh, my metabolism, like I don't bounce back. My weight doesn't fluctuate like that. It kind of will stay on this end. And then just me not liking it, but also me not doing anything about it, me still eating unhealthily and not exercising, not trying to combat it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think that my weight fluctuating and then getting bigger and bigger the older I got
Mm-hmm.
uh, was a big part of it. So it's like, yeah, I don't want to have a tight t-shirt on my stomach because when I sit down, you can see
Yeah.
the rolls. And I don't want um if I have on leggings, my butt has to be covered because it jiggles when I walk. And you know what I'm saying? Like these type of things that no one else is saying to me, I'm telling myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I would just be wanting to cover it all up.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
As a woman, do you feel like you have, like, because you said that there were periods where you will move to the men's section to buy your clothes. Do you feel like going to certain spaces or showing up in certain spaces would change the demand of how you dress? Like, if do you feel like, oh, I can't wear this here specifically because of the attention I might get, or
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, for sure. I think at one point, because I'm a queer woman, but no one's gonna just know that.
right?
So being thicker and wearing tight clothes, it's like I don't want to deal with that attention. Like I don't want to walk down the street and have the next 5 men that see me beat their horns, yell out at me, like
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. So you do start to cover up. I started to cover up, depending on where I'm going, or just wear a coat and not take it off until I get into the space, like that
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. At work, the different jobs, like I said, I was a bartender for a lot of it, so a lot of it was just like a button up and some slacks, or it just all black. For the times that I worked in an office, they have a dress. What's the
Okay.
word? Yes. So a lot of like professional dresses, or professional looking dresses, like again, a button up, some slacks, very
What's
modest.
appropriate? Yeah.
Yeah, what's appropriate. Yeah. But if I'm going into a space with my loved ones or people, a safe space, whether it's a club or a bar, um, excuse me, I feel better to wear what I want to wear and how I want to present and be seen. So yeah, I
Okay.
definitely navigate this what I'm putting on based on this space.
Okay. So as a queer person, especially in our community can be kind of limited in our like what we accept as far as presentation. Do you
Mm-hmm.
feel that that has ever limited you? Like, do you feel like you need to show up more feminine, more masculine? Has that ever been something that you've toggled with?
Um, Probably in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
I would
And in the beginning, it
feel
was more.
of my queer, like me going out and everything, because I came out at 19.
Mm-hmm.
um and so I was just start like there was a they're closed now, so it doesn't matter. There was a really popular bar called Fab Lounge off of Connecticut Ave in DuPont,
Mm-hmm.
and they used to let 21 and under in. So that was like my first queer experience in a space, and that space was very open, very safe. You could dress however you wanted, um, but I just felt I wasn't as aware, or I was a little more ignorant into the fact like we don't have to assign ourselves to these like heteronormative things. So like I don't have to be a femme,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But I felt that back then. I was like, I want them to know like I'm feminine, like I'm a girly girl or whatever. But in actuality, as I got older, I started pairing masculine and feminine pieces because I'm, if we're going to use labels, I'm what they would call a switch, or I'm verse.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually embody both, and I actually carry more masculine energy than feminine. So it was always like that kind of like dichotomy of like, I like to get my nails done. I love wearing makeup, but like I give very much top energy, top reverse. So it's like, um as I got older, I felt more confident in wearing that male button up with these tight jeans and these heels,
Mm-hmm.
or that cute bustier with these very baggy jeans and these sneakers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can literally do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like how it grew once I realized like, oh, this, I never, and I'm still navigating it. I never looked at clothing as fashion. I looked at it as clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't be out here naked. So like put
Right.
some on. And so I never like, that's what that, again, back to the plain Jane thing. I never like learned, I'm learning it now, how to style something, or think about your outfit in a style perspective. I literally just think like, oh, I put on a shirt and pants and shoes, and they should at least match or coordinate in color and
Mm-hmm.
style. And then that's all I never thought like, oh, actually, the gold, and the only thing I use, my nails are an accessory. So
Mm-hmm.
like that's a part of fashion to me, but yeah, like people are like, oh yeah, because it's a little blue in here, and that's why you see it, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's cute. Like I didn't peep that,
Bringing
but
it
I
all
see
together.
it. Yeah, and it brings it all together. So like I'm learning more about that now, more so than before.
Okay. Would you say
Yeah.
that now that you are kind of paying attention to style more, that you have maybe like one or two style icons or references that you like to make reference to?
Oh, that's a good question. Damn, if I could,
And it can be outside the realm of just people. It could even be like music or things that inspire you to dress a certain way.
yeah. So like I'm like your this term is taboo, but I'm kind of like a witch on the low.
Okay.
But um I like vamp witchy meets bohemian
Mm.
kind of vibe. Like if Lisa Bonet and who's vampy? Who gives vamp?
Like Elvira.
Like Elvira, but not as caricature, like not as costume.
Hmm.
But yes, along the lines of like Elvira meets Lisa Bonet.
Okay. I'm into that.
That I'm kind of like into that. I like really soft, flowy fabrics. I like a lot of like see-through, like lace,
Mhm.
mesh kind of vibe. And I do like the simplicity, and maybe using like a pendant or earrings or a belt or something like that. Or like I said, rings, my nails to like be the flashy part.
Right.
Yeah. And I really love, and I always get compliments when I wear them, but I really love floral print.
Mm,
I like wearing flowers. Yeah.
nice.
Hmm.
So in your wardrobe currently, are there like and I kind of referenced this before, but like mainstays as far as like silhouettes, like we were just talking about, like you like floral prints, but is there like a, if you had to always go with like this kind of top, this kind of bottom, what would that look like?
Okay.
Or if it's like
Um,
I love a form fitting dress or this, you know what I mean?
yeah. Okay, so like I love a top form fitting dress
Hmm.
that somehow flares out or loosens at the bottom,
Okay.
whether it's knee length or ankle length. Like I like for it to be a bit tight, and then like, you know, for my body type, I feel like that gives me more hip to waist ratio than I actually have.
Hmm.
Um, if I'm in comfy vibes, I really love a maxi dress, like
Okay.
nothing, just completely breathable. And
Hmm.
if I went top and pants, I would say, that's so good. I would say it's so funny. So prior to like these realizations that I'm having, I like a bodysuit that fits like a one-piece bathing suit. So
Mm-hmm.
I like a bodysuit and then put on some loose fitting jeans,
Mm.
but like Guess kind of loose fitting, or
Right.
Levi where it hugs your
So still
butt
a little structure.
but you got room. Yeah,
Mm.
I like that. And I love boots, like heel boots, like fall. It's giving fall, but
Mm-hmm.
I love them all times of the year. Whether it's ankle boot, knee boot, thigh high boot, it don't matter. I love a boot.
Nice.
Um, and with a thick heel.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say those. Yeah, and as I'm like loving my body more and like taking care of myself, um, I love a good midriff. What are they called? Crop tops.
Mm-hmm.
I think a crop top is cute. Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
So outside of getting dressed and outside of when you're in creative space, can you think of any other times where you may feel like arrested? That could be like in friendships or maybe in relationships or in romantic situations.
Mm-hmm. All those.
All the things.
I would say more heavily arrested before. Like this year has been very transformative for me
Mm-hmm.
in my personal life, and so like all these things that you're talking about, a spotlight has been shown on
Mm.
those areas in my life, and it are still I'm like in the thick of it. Like processing a lot of like these transitions and everything. I don't know if you're into astrology,
A little bit.
but so you have a big three. So it's like your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my big three are all fixed signs, which means fixed don't do well with change.
Mm.
So and everything that's happening right now with like the planetary stuff, it's very much, and we just entered Scorpio. It's very much about transformation, and so it's been very challenging.
Mm.
It, but it's serving because I didn't understand. I was aware to a certain extent, but I didn't understand how deeply I was arrested in these areas of my life, um, and how limiting I was being, and how limiting to myself, and like non-expressive. You know exactly what you said arrested means, like
Mm-hmm.
so like I wasn't being myself,
What do you
and
think
I
was
didn't
keeping you from being yourself?
believing that who I was showing up as, that I created to protect myself, was actually me, because
Mm.
I had been doing it for so long unchecked. I'm very high functioning, and so unless I want you to know, except for again this year where I couldn't hide it, I couldn't mask anymore. Um, yeah, unless I wanted you to know I was going through something, you'd never know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no fault to other people. They thought, if I'm always smiling around you, why would you think
Think
anything
something was
else?
wrong.
Yeah, so it was kind of like that. It was just the conditioning, the trauma, the the people pleasing, the lack of self-worth, like adapting and molding to be someone that you liked and wouldn't leave,
Mm-hmm.
and acting from that space, literally created a life that I woke up one day and didn't want anymore,
Yeah.
and recognized how one-sided a lot of my friendships were, and how um distant me and my partner were, like those type of things. Yeah, it was like a wake up call, basically, because my body was like, my body and my brain was like, yeah, we can't do this anymore, kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing. So yeah.
Awesome. So once you had this kind of realization with a lot of the transference of the year, have there been like moments of awakening or more or less like a here's how we're going to get through these things? Like what processes have you put into place?
I've been in individual therapy for over a year,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been in couples therapy for about 10 to 11 months now.
Mm-hmm.
um I've started saying no when I want to say no, instead
Support.
of instead of considering how that is going to affect the other person and deciding like I don't want to hurt their feelings, I don't want to make them feel like I'm unreliable, I don't want them to think, like I can't decide that for them.
Right.
um and just saying like, hey, it's okay that you don't want to do something. Like
Yeah.
you don't have to do everything for everybody. Like that was never written for you. Like that was never your destiny kind of thing. So yeah, just like saying no more often, without over explaining. Um Still getting deeper into like my breath work and yoga practice, and being more, how do I say, like pushing past the fear.
Hmm.
So like learning, therapy has actually given me access to how to describe feelings, because I never allowed myself to actually feel them. I intellectualized it.
Hmm.
So yeah, actually feeling my feelings and not making up a story about it, just letting it move through me, and actually learning in real time like, oh, that is temporary. Like if you just let it move through your body, you won't hold it for the next 2 weeks.
Hmm.
um and through my behavior and the way that I've been up until this point, what I'm saying, like that causes a lot of resentment. So um now I'm just in the thick of navigating that, like trying to clear that up.
Got it. All right.
Yeah.
We're at the last question. So first, I want to say thank
Oh.
you so much for being so open and honest. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. This is awesome. I love this idea.
So, oh, and also, I'll tell you this after the last question. But so the last question would be for anyone out there who would be, seeing this or reading this, what advice would you give to them about being free of the arrested feeling? And this could be advice to a stranger or maybe to yourself, 2 years ago.
Oh, that's great. It's a great one. Okay. Advice be to be free of that
Hmm.
arrested feeling.
Hmm.
Just start telling the truth. Like it's gonna suck. It's gonna feel a certain way inside, but the freedom comes the moment it leaves your lips. Like, because you're not carrying it, it's off your chest, it's off of your heart, you said it out loud, and after that you're controlled, like you're done. That was the only part you had control over in the first place. So just, yeah, I would encourage people to tell themselves the truth out loud, even if you're standing and looking in a mirror or just in a room by yourself with your eyes closed, just saying the truth out loud to yourself, so that once you accept it, it'll be nothing saying it to other people,
Mm.
you know? So
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I would say.
I love it. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. So what
Thank
I'm going to
you.
essentially do is I'm going to transcribe this interview, and then I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to turn that into a piece. So I'm going to paint it onto like an article of clothing, and then we're going to put these all the different pieces in like a kind of like a courtroom scene at a
Yeah.
museum in Miami for Art Basel. So that'll be
Mm-hmm.
the presentation will be just kind of like the living setup of these pieces. So basically, people's feelings just kind of sprawled out in the room.
Yeah. That is so cool.
Thank you. So you're going to be
Ah,
part of the legacy.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. So
when
as
when
everything
is
progresses, I'll
Art
be
Basel?
huh?
When is Art Basel?
It's so I leave to go set everything up December 5th, so it's next month.
December 5th. Okay, cool. Okay.
So I'll be keeping everybody posted on the journey, like with pictures and everything, so everybody will be up to date on how it's progressing. Mm.
Well, thank you for your creativity and your openness and like including people in on your art. Like I'm a part of something that's going to be an Art Basel. That's cool as shit.
Yeah, I wanted to take everybody with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I've been wanting to work with you. You know what I'm saying? Timing just hasn't worked out, but
Yeah,
I really appreciate it. This is super cool.
no
So
problem.
thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be
All
keeping in
right.
touch. Okay,
Okay. Have a good
all right.
one.
Bye.